ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
All right, welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors. It is our season finale of the show from IBX Media. Bobby Harward in studio, Philip Pilkington behind the glass. We got fans going. The AC is hot, or the AC is out. It's hot outside, and this is a good time to wrap up because I don't want to be doing any more shows shirtless, which, hey, we might get into it. So you may hear some fans in the background. That's because we're trying to survive. So Stephen Igo here, Bobby Harward next to me. Sup Dogs bringing you today's show on a Friday. Season finale is here, gentlemen, and we're going to get into our bold predictions. We got several submissions. This is for the upcoming ECU Athletics year 25-26. We also got some news to discuss from yesterday. RJ Felton, NBA bound, and ECU baseball at the big hire. But, Bobby, how's it going?
It's going well. Very hot right now, but what can you do when it's as hot as it's been outside? I feel like our AC at home has been running nonstop, trying to get everything sorted out with the water leak, issues that we discussed last week. So I do want to continue to shout out High Tide. They took care of us really well with the restoration. And then we got Lee Brothers General Contractors who's going to do our work for us in terms of rebuilding some bathrooms. So fun times in the Harward household.
Our first bold prediction is Bobby will have a nicer bathroom by the fall than he currently does. If not, you're in trouble.
Yeah, we're in big trouble because the house that we live in was built in 1969. Nice. And, I think the bathrooms are original to the home, so way overdue.
Philip Pilkington, hopefully he has a working bathroom, and hopefully you're able to survive. You got, that room is as hot as it is normally with the AC working. I can't imagine how it is right now with all that equipment in there, Philip. So how you holding up?
I'm kind of ticked off. Like, this is the hottest room in the building already, and this is the first time our AC's been out in the last 11 months. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, I probably shouldn't bash on the owners of the building, but come on. Like, just get us a new one instead of repairing the darn thing. Like, I'm tired of this crap. It's really getting old.
Philip is tired. Well, hey, I guess you still got to be here some while we're on break.
Yeah, I still have the job to do.
Okay.
Just because there's no shows.
So you're just gonna melt.
I do have a vacation July the 5th through the 12th, so I don't really care what happens then.
The comments section are open on YouTube, Facebook, and X. So if you have a bold prediction you want to get in, drop it in the chat and we will get to it. We have several Twitter submissions. I do want to start though today with the news, and then we'll get into bold predictions. Ryan Benner says, "Imagine that. Phil is ticked off." I guess that's the normal occurrence in here. Are you always ticked off, Philip?
Yeah, usually. I'm trying to. I just moved a fan. I think it was blowing on Igo's mic, and now I don't hear the.
You can vaguely
I can
hear
still
it.
hear it.
I don't think it's. I think because we have earphones in, you can hear it. But
Worse,
let us know if it's bad. If you're listening, if so, we'll make some adjustments. But also, don't want to melt. All right. Question right off the bat. We'll just address this. It's a free for all Friday. Thick Poppy wants to know, question, would we rather beat NC State at their house and lose to BYU, or beat BYU and lose to State? Curious to get your guys' answers. Bobby.
I'm going to go with beat BYU at home because, A, it's in Dowdy, which is going to be, I think the place would be nuts if we pull that upset up. B, BYU is projected to be potentially a top 15 program, unless they re-rank with the quarterback situation there. And so, to me, that would be a bigger win because I don't think much is expected of NC State. And even if we do lose to State, we've at least beat them within the calendar year.
Philip?
Yeah, I think, A, you've already beat State, and B, think about what that's going to do for attendance moving forward at home. You think of that Army game the following week and just portraying you in a conference play if you beat BYU. I think that could be a huge elevator for the program, for the guys mentally to help carry some momentum in a conference play. Like I said, with the fans, you know how it is. It seems like we get one Power 5 team every few years, And when you beat that Power 5 team, it really helps with attendance. And when you lose to that Power 5 team, you're like, dang, will a Power 5 team ever come back to Dowdy? And so maybe this is a good opportunity to get things going. As much as I do want to beat State, like Bobby said, you have at least beat them in the calendar year. It would be cool to beat them twice, but I think BYU does better long-term than the win against State, even though I think State would feel better in the moment.
I'm going to go with BYU as well. It just feels like, guys, it's been a while. It's been a while since ECU's had like a marquee home victory. The bowl victory was nice. And, look, there is something special, too, about going to, like, an NC State and just beating them in their place. But I just want an electric Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium. I want that place packed. You know, ECU had the chance in 2021, I believe it was, against South Carolina. Blew that. 2022 against NC State. Blew that. Blew it last year versus App State. I want to see Dowdy-Ficklen at its peak with a win, everybody singing "All I Do Is Win" at the end, and the team celebrating. That is what I want. That is my vision.
When's the last big win at Dowdy?
Gosh, I mean,
It's got to be I don't know. Virginia Tech wasn't that great at the James Summers Virginia Tech game, and that was raining and stuff, so the weather sucked.
The last time BYU came here, we beat them. They were dog water that year. They went 3-9.
I'm not counting anything. I mean, probably the Scotty Moe win over NC State, honestly. Like, that was
that or the Carolina win over.
Yeah, probably the Carolina win. I mean, that was 18 Scotty Moe's. Now, they had just lost to A&T the week prior, so it took a lot of buzz out of the stadium. But I will say, like, the fourth quarter of that game was like, kind of felt like ECU football, what it should feel like at home. But definitely the 2016 game, I would say, it was like electric from start to finish, and ECU won. That was like what I expect.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would go with.
Well, and 18 would have been Larry Fedora's was that Fedora's last
I think
year?
so, yeah.
And when they were terrible, Carolina
was a
terrible.
loser leaves town match.
Yeah.
And they both ended up leaving town by the end of the season. But, yeah. I mean, you had, like, some nice wins, like, over Memphis and UCF for Mike Houston, but, like, it wasn't, like, jam-packed, I would say.
Yeah, from a fan base perspective, people don't care about those as much.
Yeah. All right, so some big news, guys. Last night, R.J. Felton, I was about to go to sleep, see a few tweets that he has signed an undrafted free agent deal with the Indiana Pacers. And so it is an Exhibit 10 contract, which I'm not as up-to-date on, like, NBA free agency and all that as I am, like, MLB and NFL. But essentially, he's going to be a part of their roster. He's going to be able to compete in training camp and summer league with the opportunity to earn a two-way contract. Teams are allowed to have 3 two-way players, which means G League and NBA. And then the Exhibit 10, you can sign up to 6 players in the offseason to an Exhibit 10 contract. So RJ will go into camp, have a shot, a really good Pacers team. They also drafted a couple of guards as well. So, look, it will be an uphill battle, but I'm not going to bet against RJ Felton. You know, a year ago this time, I wouldn't have expected him to even get a contract. And here we are after his phenomenal performance at the Pitt tournament. So, very happy for RJ. And just cool to see ECU basketball having a player get an opportunity, Bobby.
100%, and a guy that actually finishes his career at ECU. So I think couldn't be more happier for him. My question to you guys, I don't know if either of you know this or not, if he does not make the two-way deal and doesn't get selected as one of those 3 for the two-way, does he automatically go to Indiana's G League team, or is he essentially then a free agent to go to any other organization's G League team?
That's a great question. One that I think at that point the Pacers still have the right to him, but then there's like a whole G League draft they do as well where you can draft other players. I don't know, Philip, do you know how that works?
I'm not 100% sure. The fact that he signed one of these deals, right, where they can only sign 6 players of these. So theoretically, I think the way it works is 3 out of the 6 of these guys are going to be 13, 14, and 15 on the roster, which means they're on a two-way deal. So I don't know if you automatically lose the rights to those other 3, or those 3 are like your first 3 guys that are already on your G League team. I don't know.
NBA is kind of confusing.
NBA is kind of confusing. Of course, you know, as we say that, like, think of how weird the MLB is.
Yeah.
With, like, guys, you know, we drafted off other teams
Arbitration.
in the offseason arbitration. So
Yeah, the Rule 5 draft is
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah.
So, look, and to be honest, like, we haven't had to deal with this. I'm just going to be honest. Like, I haven't had to deal with an ECU player signing any sort of NBA contract probably during my time covering the team. Like, Akeem Richmond's the only one I really remember. I know Kentrell Barkley, Yeah, after he got kicked off the ECU team, spent some time in the G League. Vance Jackson had like a stint in the G League, but like this is the first player that like I've actually covered that fans care about that has signed with an NBA team, since Akeem Richmond. So it's like I'm having to re-educate myself.
Well, dude, isn't that wild? You've been covering the team since what, like 2011, 2012,
Yes.
something like that?
Yeah, 2010. We started Hoist the Colors in 2010, so
15 years,
Yeah.
dude. 15 freaking years, and this is the first time. The other positive of it, too, though, because of this contract, he should get a lot of burn in the summer league, so he'll get a lot of opportunities, and as fans, we'll get to watch him. Never in a million years would I have said I'm going to put on a Pacers G League or summer league game, but I'll probably be putting on a Pacers summer league game.
I was about to say, I don't think I've watched a single second of summer league basketball in my entire life, but I am going to watch summer league basketball this year, July 10th through the 20th at UNLV. They have another summer league tournament or something, but that's the main one. So I don't know, Philip, you going to be locked in? What else do we have to do in July? We don't have a radio show.
I know, right? Obviously, I'm traveling through the 12th, so I'll probably miss their first game. Obviously, don't know the schedule yet. But after that, that next week, I guess while I'm working here, I can throw it up on my iPad or something.
So when we get that Pacers Summer League schedule, we can let you know. Other NBA news, former Pirate, I did tweet out last night, Javon Small via West Virginia. He gets drafted. Tristan Newton got drafted last year, so 2 former Pirates have been drafted if you're into that sort of thing. But again, RJ going straight from ECU to the NBA, and we'll follow his story going forward. All right, Hunter says, going back to our earlier question, he says beat NC State is what he would rather have. Bragging rights, if we lose to BYU, it was to be expected, so it's whatever. Beating your rival always feels good. So, I mean, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but there's Hunter's take.
I don't think so either. My only counterpoint to Hunter's take, I know we view it as a rivalry. Does NC State view it as a rivalry would be my counterpoint. And then my other thing from a national perspective and vantage point, what looks better beating a top 20 BYU over a 6-7 expected win NC State team. Now, again, that's his preference. I'm just and that's completely cool. I'm just pulling some counterpoints to that as well.
Local bragging rights for sure, NC State, but national headlines, I think beating BYU, that's going to be, if BYU's 2-0 ranked, that's going to be like a SportsCenter opening game or two. If you beat NC State, like they may show it, but it's not going to be your lead story.
We may actually get picked by the college game day analyst that game.
Is true.
All
right, so you better weigh in, Philip?
Oh, no, I'm good.
I must have heard the fan. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so other news last night, yesterday evening, we learned that Jake Gautreau, I figured out the pronunciation this morning, has been hired as the new hitting coach for ECU baseball. And I'll tell you what, guys, like this ECU baseball offseason has gone on paper about as well as you could hope. Outside of maybe losing like a pitcher or two, I think ECU has done really well in the portal. They've added an infielder, a potential shortstop. They've added a potential center fielder. They've added 5 pitchers. Now they add a national championship winning hitting coach, Jake Gautreau from Mississippi State. Obviously, their staff got let go with Brian O'Connor going there, but you're talking about one of the elite recruiters and hitting coaches nationally. They hit a program record 103 home runs last year. That is a lot of bombs. Now, I know, look, they've got elite talent, all that, but again, adding this to Jeff Palumbo and Austin Knight, Bobby, like, this is a hell of a hire on paper.
Yeah, this is a big time hire. I'm thrilled with it. Like you mentioned, like this is as good of an offseason as we could have hoped for ECU baseball. I will step back and ask, do you think y'all need to go another week with all this news breaking here recently?
Right?
Good night.
I think we're either getting out of the perfect time where there's going to be no more news, or like come Monday there's going to be just a swell of news that we're not able to address.
100%. But, we had talked prior to the hire being made that or when this transition of the staff and people leaving happened, we were talking about the fact they need an ace recruiter and the fact that he was able to go out and get one. Not an up-and-comer from a level that hasn't maybe been at the level of ECU before, but a guy actually above ECU coming back down, which is even, more impressive. Granted, there was a new staff at Mississippi State, but for Cliff Godwin to be able to compete and put ECU's name in the hat and get him to select ECU, huge deal.
Philip, your take on the hire of Jake Gautreaux?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, anytime you go through a change, you want to get it addressed as soon as possible, even if it is something like a hitting coach. I think the opportunity to have someone in this early is big because that summertime, or with as the guys get back from spring, their summer leagues, is so important. And to go out there and get a guy who's been an established program, who comes from the SEC, that is always a huge opportunity. And look, I think this can go nowhere but up, right? I mean, look, I don't want to jinx it, but this is just a huge opportunity for this team to say, hey, look, we are now poaching from the SEC, right? And what can this do for you moving forward? Yeah, maybe you don't get any transfers from Mississippi State right away, but when you have a kid who's looking to come down from an SEC program, look, we have an SEC hitting coach, and this program's ready to compete. So I think it does nothing but help you on the national landscape.
Got a question for you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you go.
What do you think? I know Cliff has kind of led the hitting philosophy and that sort of thing. Do they have a similar hitting philosophy, or do you think Cliff is going to kind of let the new hitting Jake, right?
Yep.
Yeah, take over a little bit more and bring his philosophy in, or how do you see that working out?
That's a great question. That's a great question. We know that Cliff Godwin very much is hands-on offensively. I think he wanted to be hands-off with Henry Lartigue, and at times was, and Henry still ran a lot of the hitting meetings and all that. Like, I know that Gautreaux, with his background, I think he'll run all the meetings and do that sort of stuff. It's just, will we still see Cliff in the third base box given as many signs as he does, or do they have more of a just overall approach? You know, that's my biggest. I think it'll be, at least to begin with, a collaborative effort, but I just don't think you bring in a guy of Gautreaux's status without letting him kind of do his own thing. And like, I mean, they hit 303 with 103 home runs at Mississippi State last year. Like, that's, again, and that's with SEC talent, but also facing the SEC. So clearly they have some sort of approach that works. They won a national title in 21. You know, not that ECU hasn't had success, and I still think we'll see bunting, and I think we'll still see slashing, but that's my biggest question is, how does this dynamic work? Because clearly both guys have had a lot of success.
Right, and I'm 100% with you. You don't get a guy of this stature in unless he knows he's going to be able to implement at least some of his philosophy, so I'm with you.
All right, Ryan, to wrap this up, says, do we think he can bring in a portal guy with him? Great question, Ryan. The portal for baseball closes in 5 days on July 1st. So, you know, I don't know who all is already – I haven't dove into the who's out there from the Jake Gautreaux tree in the portal. I do know ECU is pretty limited on availability for this point, so unless you can add a stud, it seems unlikely, but I wouldn't rule it out. I just haven't heard of anybody per se. And the other thing is he's got extensive ties to Texas and Louisiana. He played at Tulane, where he was a standout first-round pick from Texas originally. So I think he's going to help a lot also from that area of the country. JUCO ball is big in Texas as well and in that region. So even if he doesn't bring anybody immediately, I think he'll bring some guys from that area of the country long term. All right, let's get our break in. When we come back, we'll shift gears. We'll get to our bold predictions. And I'll be honest, I haven't written any down. I'm just going to go off the dome as we sit. I don't know if Bobby and Philip have planned for this. I do know that we have several comments of bold predictions we can read and react to as well. And we'll just let it rip, man. Bold predictions for the Athletics coming year 25-26. We'll get into that next. This is Hoist the Colors.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed, meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
At Parker's Barbecue, our family has been serving your family for 3 generations.
For that, we say thank you.
Blessing families every Thursday. Kids eat free all day. That's the Parker's way.
Legendary food served from our 3 locations. Always quick, always delicious, That's the Parker's way.
At Parker's, our mission is to impact our customers through Christ-like service in a way that feeds them both physically and spiritually. That is the Parker's way.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
It's back.
Inner Banks Media presents the #1 outdoor concert series in Greenville.
Concert on the Common.
The next band to hit the stage at the Greenville Toyota Amphitheater is On the Border, the ultimate Eagles tribute.
Get more details on this year's concert series at concertonthecommon.org. See you June 26th for On the Border. Loyal and bold, we're the purple and golds.
Yo, ho, ho!
And we're back to hoist the colors with Steve Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the colors. Who's ready for some bold predictions? This is our season finale. It's been a long year, fun year. Overall, I would say a pretty successful year for ECU athletics. I mean, you did have a mid-season coaching change. But at the end of the season, you won 8 games, including a bowl win over NC State. In basketball, you won 19 games. Yeah, I know the net ranking. Don't get to remind me about
17 games.
17
is not 19. It is 17.
Hey, still, what is it, one of 5 teams in the entire programs, in the entire country with winning records in football, basketball, men's and women's, baseball, softball, soccer, volleyball or something. So, and everybody else was Power 4. Well, in UConn. But they're power in non-football sports.
By the way, ECU softball, a couple big commits. Stay on the lookout for that. I've heard some good things there. Shout out Shane Winkler doing some big things. All right, baseball, down season. We thought we were trading that for a good year in football and basketball, but turns out they were just sandbagging to the conference tournament. They ended up still making the postseason. So good year overall. All right, bold predictions. We'll save ours for now. Again, drop yours in the chat, either on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll get to those. Jim just dropped his question from yesterday. Jim, yes, I screenshot it. We're going to get to that towards the end. All right. Bold predictions from Twitter. Jake Pierce says ECU football will average over 35 points a game. Did they not do that last year?
Probably not.
35 points? I feel like they were close.
Well,
I'll do the math.
You would have to take maybe the second half of the year.
I'm about to look it up right now. 2024 ECU football. I want to say they at least got into the low 30s because I remember running some numbers. Like, they just were so hot towards the second half of the year. 35 points a game while I look this up. How doable do y'all think this is?
I want to see last year's number really to be
32 points a game.
Oh yeah, way doable then. Yeah, this offense is going to be way more explosive. Katenhauser's going to be in it for 12, 13, 14 games hopefully. So, we'll see.
16 games.
Oh, there you go.
Bold prediction. Yeah, I mean, if you look at when Hauser took over the job, 28 points at Army, 56 versus Temple, 49 versus FAU, 38 at Tulsa, 40 versus North Texas, 20 versus Navy, 26 versus NC State. So I would say they, without doing the actual math, they were over that mark for when Hauser was the starter. But again, pretty bad competition too.
But our first half of the schedule is pretty tough, but NC State's still a question mark.
Yeah.
I'm gonna extend that bold prediction. I think we hit 40.
40 points a game?
40 points a game.
Well, here's the thing.
We're
You gotta,
39.
Okay.
you got to remember about last year, too. You played Army and Navy. This year you only play Army. And
Good point.
I know it's just one game, right? But you just think about how few possessions you get. Neither one of those games did you crack 25. If that happens again this year with one of those teams, it's a lot better than having it twice.
Chuck says, with all of the new additions in the portal, a new hitting coach, incoming freshman class, and most of our stars returning, the Pirates finally bust down the door to Omaha, which I would say without looking at these is probably the most likely bold prediction Pirate fans will go with, which is fair. ECU's never been to Omaha. So we'll have more comments on that later, I'm sure. All right, Scouts Focus. This is a big one. ECU Hoops will make the first NCAA tournament since 1992. ECU football will make the playoffs if they beat NC State. ECU baseball, first World Series. I tell you what, if all of that occurs, we're making this a 3-hour show on a daily basis. How about that? Because we'll have plenty to talk about.
And we'll have like a party watch-along show or something, just a massive throwdown because –
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We will pop champagne bottles in the studio.
I mean, if one of those things happens.
Truly, though. Truly.
Just give me one of those things and I'll be glorious. If all three of those things happen, I might just retire. And it'll never get any better. And
then we're probably searching for a new AD and 2 head coaches.
We'll help them pack.
Yeah.
Tell them thank you. Rohan says at least one Power 4 win for ECU football, men's basketball, and baseball. So football in the regular season, obviously you got NC State, BYU. We know basketball takes on Michigan State and North Carolina.
So they got to go 1 for 1.
Yeah.
1-1 at least. Yeah.
Baseball won't get swept by Carolina. I feel good about that.
Baseball, I mean, with all the games they play, that one would definitely happen. I mean, if you give me a basketball win over Michigan State, North Carolina, it doesn't matter to me if it's the worst Michigan State or North Carolina team ever. That would be something I could gloat about for the rest of our life.
Please let us beat the Heels.
That would be hilarious. Destry says the Pirates play for the American title after beating NC State and Tulane in the regular season. So, I mean, if they do that, definitely a good shot. How many wins do y'all think it takes? You got to go 7-1 in conference, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So with this many teams, and not everybody playing everybody, 6-2 ain't gonna cut it.
You're probably right. Because I want to say Memphis went 6-2 last year, did not make it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'd need to see who Memphis, UTSA, and Tulane all play.
And Army.
And we get all 4 of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think too. I mean, there's a path to somebody going 8-0 and 2 people going 7-1, and one of the 7-1s getting left out. Is it gonna happen? Probably not. But I mean, I wouldn't say it's a stretch.
See, I'll also add this. I'm not as high on Army as everybody is. I just think that quarterback is. I mean, that's what makes the offense go, and they're going to be adjusting. Not saying they're not going to be a difficult, disciplined team to play, but I just don't think they're going to be. Yeah, exactly.
All right, I just got a text says, "Big guy, I will retire if that happens." If all that happens, so that would be hilarious. And yeah, Ryan says bank accounts would be drained. Could you imagine all the fans having to travel to the playoffs?
Because they would.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah.
I mean, how many people out of you guys are friends with? Because I know I would actually go to all 3.
We would. I've said when we make the NCAA tournament, I'm 100% going. Brittany and I said when we got married in 2016, if we ever make Omaha, we're going. Even 3 kids later and bathroom renovations and the whole deal, we're still going to Omaha if it happens.
You just forfeit your bathroom. Yeah,
exactly.
And the Howard household will be easy to find as it will have a porta-john in the front yard. Right. So if you want to know where Bobby lives,
just start driving around Greenville and look for the porta-john in the front.
ECU, if they made the playoff, they'd probably be on the road with the new 12-seeded deal, but could you imagine like ECU hosting Alabama in the first round?
Oh gosh, that'd be sick.
All right, more bold predictions. This is fun. Jonathan Wadner says, "I will not get a parking ticket at 2026 ECU Baseball Media Day." That is bold.
That is very bold. It's the most bold yet. He's 100% getting a parking ticket.
Yeah, we're all getting parking tickets because apparently you can park the wrong way.
Yeah.
In that lot. You pull. Hey, don't pull through.
Don't
you
pull
will
through.
get a
Yeah,
ticket.
don't back in. Don't.
Unbelievable.
Pull. I mean, you don't have a parking pass, but you park normal. You're fine. I mean, how stupid is that? What idiots running the
Don't
show
get me on
over
that
there?
soapbox. All right, Jonathan goes. A different Jonathan, ECU Pirate Toby on Twitter says football goes 8-5. He says ECU women's basketball will finish the season better than the men's team in the AAC standings. And he says ECU baseball, parentheses, if all arms stay healthy, wins the AAC regular season, is a top 8 seed, wins the regional, wins the super regional in Game 3 walk-off, and kicks down the door to Omaha.
I'm loving that.
So he has got it mapped out. Jeffrey Neal says ECU baseball wins the national title and Ethan Norby throws a no-hitter. I don't know if those things happen at the same time or separately, but that would be elite.
Final game of the World Series. Ethan Norby. No.
Brady Thomas says ECU basketball reaches 23 wins.
Brady Thomas.
Shut up, Brady.
Pass over whatever you're drinking, sir.
23 wins for the Pirates. Hey, if that happens, the Pirates could be dancing with this schedule. Man.
Oh, they're at least probably NIT. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Brady for posting his first national article the other day.
He did. He's writing for the Sporting News now. Guy's big time, man. ECU football wins the AAC is what the Gator Gamer on Twitter says. Men's basketball makes the postseason and wins a game. So I guess that could be the NIT or the the basketball tournament. What's that?
The one that the Fox.
The Gold Crown
tournament.
Out in Vegas.
Yeah.
Let's go to Vegas. That'd be a fun excuse to go to Vegas. Let's do it.
Baseball makes Omaha is his final prediction. All right, Scott Rogers. This will be our last one before we get a break in. Says there still won't be a voice of the Pirates by the end of the 2026 athletics year. Former baseball voice. I do think Jim Zoki's come back from football, and Darren Vaught, as far as I know, has come back from basketball. So that is the plan going forward. So I don't know. Will Philip Pilkington be the new voice of the Pirates in 2026? Will that be my bold prediction?
I don't know. Probably a bad bold prediction.
All right, let's get a break in. We got a few more to read. We also got some comments on YouTube we'll get to, and we got to share our bold predictions as well. This is Hoist the Colors. We'll be right back.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Want fresh, homegrown produce? Then look for Peden's Junior Produce. Peden's Junior Produce, a mobile produce stand, is on Memorial Drive beside Parker's Barbecue in Greenville and open Thursday and Friday 10 to 7, Saturday 8 to 7, and Sunday 11 to 6. Choose from seasonal produce like collards, squash, onions, potatoes, corn, and the list goes on. Support your local farmers and enjoy locally grown produce. To find out what's in season, check out Peden's Junior Produce on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Harvesting happiness one crop at a time.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, fun show on the season finale. Again, we'll be off all of July. We'll be back August 11th is the plan. Of course, hoistthecolors.net will still roll on. And then we'll have coverage from AAC Football Media Days in late July. And we'll have a Hoist the Colors podcast here or there on our Hoist the Colors 24/7 Sports podcast channel. So if there's any breaking news, we'll react to that. Maybe I'll even get Philip Pilkington on. And
Let's
Bobby
do it.
on
I think we should do a post-NBA Summer League.
We may need to
talking
do that,
about R.J. Felton.
Especially if he's tearing it up.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that. We'll have some podcasts there. So stay tuned for that. Over the course of July. All right, we're continuing with our bold predictions episode. In a few minutes, Bobby, Philip, and I will share our craziest or not so crazy bold predictions. We'll see how bold we want to get. A few more here. Graham Till in the chat says 7 to 8 wins in the American. That would most likely enter the Pirates in the conference championship game. And we also have somebody's talking about the Sunday starter role. We'll try and get to that if we can in the chat. All right. Ryan Benner on Twitter says football finishes 9-4, beats NC State. Basketball finishes over 500, and baseball hosts a regional, makes it to a Super Game 3. I feel like all those are pretty bold, but not crazily bold, but fair.
The fact they're paired together, I think, is the boldness.
That is true as well. Grayson on Twitter says conference championship appearance in football, finish as a top 4 seed in basketball, baseball hosts a regional and have a 20-plus home run hitter, softball wins the conference tournament.
All aboard the Shane train, baby.
I do think it'll be tough to replace some of the losses via the portal, Kendall Frost and Emma Jackson, but it does feel like the Pirates are due for a softball tournament title run. And it's a multi-bid league, so wouldn't rule out an at-large here in the near future. All right, I think that's all the bold predictions on our social channels. If you want to get any in, let us know. Who wants to go first? Anybody ready?
Let's let Philip. Are you ready?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, go for it.
Okay. In the year 2026, 14 of the 16 weeks in the baseball season will have the same Friday, Saturday, and Sunday starter. There will be a one-off, maybe a two-off here or there, whether it be the last weekend of the regular season or some guy has to miss a start. But at least 14 to 16 weeks, same Friday, Saturday, Sunday rotation.
Are you willing to name those starters?
I think it is going to be Norby, Jenkins, and I always get them confused. Which one came from Layla Mary? And Tolik.
Towers.
Towers did. Okay,
and then Tolik came from A&M.
Okay. And Towers.
Yep.
That will be in that order.
Okay. I like it. Very specific. Kind of random, but bold. You want to go or you want me to go? And by the way, we can throw out multiple bold predictions. I have multiple.
Okay. Yeah. You go first.
Okay.
I don't want to take any.
All right. Caden Hauser will win the American Offensive Player of the Year. I don't even know if they have an Offensive Player of the Year. I'm just going to say Caden Hauser will be the top player in the American, and ECU will appear in the conference championship game. I don't know if they'll win it, but they'll be there.
I like it. Will it be in Dowdy?
Yes.
Okay, I have a bold prediction. They'll be in it, but on the road.
All right, on the road. Who they playing?
No idea.
ECU will make it to Omaha for the first time ever. They will run the table to the championship series. They will face the Ole Miss Rebels in the championship series. Cliff Godwin against Mike Bianco. ECU will lose the first game and then win the next two to win the national championship. Bold prediction, 2026 national champions. Write it.
Yo, we need to end the show right now.
I know, right?
That was
the heck with the next 20
yes.
minutes.
That's as bold as I can go right there.
Wow,
Anybody
want
want to try to top that? Or
I mean, I'm not going to try to top. I was going to say baseball was going to host a super regional in Clark LeClaire, but
well, I think the only way you can top it is if you just went like really bold. It's like it's ECU to the Final Four or something with that.
Yeah.
I mean, what's more bold, ECU winning the national championship in baseball or making the NCAA tournament?
Ooh.
I would say making the NCAA tournament.
You're probably right. This year, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. No, I would say not this year because, right, like the out-of-conference schedule is tough enough to get yourself into an at-large position. You can finish third in the conference, and if you've got wins over St. Bonaventure and then Michigan State or Carolina, and you could beat Richmond, beat Wilmington on the – like you could be on that bubble.
This team is finishing 6 through 9 in the conference.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I agree. But, like, the point is, like, if there's going to be a year for an at-large bid, this is it, right? I mean, just because the out-of-conference schedule isn't plagued with JUCO schools like Barton College.
True. Do you have any more bolds?
I was trying to think of a basketball one, but I may need some more time. Because this roster is such an unknown.
It's a nice way of putting it.
I want to say Jordan Riley goes off, but I don't know. I don't think he can be a number one scorer. So I'm gonna make a bold basketball prediction in segment 4. How about that?
I got one.
All right.
This isn't crazy bold, but I say we beat Wilmington and Richmond on the road.
That is very bold.
I say our only road out of conference loss is in the Ding Dong.
Only road out of conference loss?
Yeah, I didn't say neutral. I'm not talking about neutral sites. Didn't say we were beating Sparty, but. Yeah.
Is it bold to say ECU will win at least one of those games?
I think it is. I think so. Here we go. They beat St. Bonaventure. Let's do it.
Let's go.
I say they only lose to Carolina and Sparty. That was my bold basketball.
All right.
Wow.
In the out of conference.
My bold basketball prediction is ECU will not have a head-scratching non-conference loss. How about that?
It's probably actually bold.
That is, yeah.
There's always one or two. There is always one or two.
North Alabama.
Yep. Gardner-Webb. And this year they will do that, and they will beat St. Bonaventure. How about that?
Wow. I'm loving the optimism.
And if they do have a head-scratching out-of-conference loss at home, someone will still post a video of the other team celebrating in our locker room because they did it last time.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
And that's tough. That's tough. All right, some more submissions here. I like this one. Purple and Gold says ECU will start the season 4-0, ranked for the first time in over 10 years, and lose to Army on national TV. Very ECU. I could 100% see that. Yeah. That is a very high likelihood.
It's not likelihood that we win the first 4, but if we do, heck yeah.
100%. I will pick Army in that game.
The second part of that is not bold. The first part is very bold.
Johnny Robertson says Mike Wright will lead the team in rushing touchdowns. I like that pick as well.
Ooh. That's a little outside the box. I like it. There you go, Johnny Stats.
Shores444 says my bold prediction is Phillip will get a new studio with AC.
That's bold, baby.
That's the least likely thing to happen out of all the things we've said. But we can only hope. All right, I think that's it as far as bold predictions. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and take a break. We got some questions to answer on the other side. If we do have any late bold submissions, drop them in the chat. Hunter Corbett, ECU will sweep Campbell in baseball. That is extremely bold. The Pirates haven't beat Campbell in years. They'd never even get the chance to play the second game due to rain. So, Hunter, I like you there. Good call on the bold prediction. If you got any more, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them in our final segment of the season. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. This is Hoist the Colors.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, Newbern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
If you are interested in living longer and living stronger, Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine is accepting new patients for a limited time. Finding a caring physician can be a challenge. Dr. Billy Smith is board certified in physical medicine and lifestyle medicine and has been practicing in the area for many years. Call for an appointment now to Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine, 252-364-1108 in Greenville. That number again is 252-364-1108.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveway.
The Pirates play here.
Time to play the game.
This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. Final segment of the season. It is our bold prediction episode. We also will address any final questions here in our final few minutes. Bobby Harvard along with the Sup Dogs, by the way, great sponsor of the show. Check them out downtown Greenville, multiple-time Barstool Best Bar winner. Took the family there last week. Great spots for family, early dinner, lunch. Also, obviously, a great spot in season to watch some football and sports. Great atmosphere. Bobby Harvard today, Philip Pilkington behind the glass. Final segment, gentlemen. Let's go out with a bang. And Spencer Scott says, as he continues our bold predictions, he says ECU will host a regional, win a super regional on the road, and then head to Omaha. And he mentions he's got a projected lineup for 2026. He says he already has 12 more in the notes ready to go. So his projected lineup right now is Braden Burst at short, Jack Herring in right, Colby Wallace at third base, Austin Irby at first, Carlos Hakame at second, Jack Bogaley DHing Braxton Trammell left field, Walker Barron catching Alex Peltier in center. Spencer, I will say, talking to Hakame, the plan is for him to come in and play shortstop. I think that's what he wants to play. I think the staff wants him to play shortstop. Again, it's June 27th. Things can change, but I would assume if all goes according to plan, we'll see Burst at second, Hakame at short, but things could change. But appreciate your submission there. All right, we had a couple of questions yesterday. Robert Dedrick says many new players on defense will need to gel. So does new defensive coordinator Josh Aldridge start with heavy base adding each week or aggressive? Like I guess he's trying to say, does he go aggressive turnovers or bust mentality? Does he play like base coverage? I think it's a fair question, Bobby. I kind of lean towards him being more aggressive than anything based on how the scheme looks, but your thoughts there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is the tough part to answer that question is I think his base scheme is aggressive.
Yeah.
I think that's how that's what his philosophy is, and that's how he operates. That's his mindset. What I do think will happen, though, is you will see probably the third down package be a little bit more generic. And then as the season progresses, you'll see that third down package evolve more and more, whether that's, they're starting 4 down and then shift to some 3 down stuff and kind of some of that sort of thing and some more exotic blitzes as time goes on, or maybe even in their base package, he feels a little bit more comfortable being able to blitz a safety and bring him down and some of those sort of things. But bottom line is, it sounds like his base package is aggressive. I expect him to hold true to that, and that's what this group is used to. Blake Harrell was aggressive as anybody, so I think it's going to be a good transition.
It's always interesting to me. I was listening to the Cover 3 podcast, which covers college football for CBS Sports, part of 24/7 Sports Network, and they were having the conversation. You kind of want an aggressive defense to balance with an aggressive offense, because even if you give up an 80-yard touchdown because you blitz the house, that just means your fast-paced offense is right back on the field.
Yep.
And so y'all obviously dealt with that to an extent, but also you can play a lot of base and coverage and force a team to matriculate the ball down the field too, but you just see more often kind of a defense that thrives off turnovers and negative plays and giving up the big plays paired with a fast-paced offense. But I thought it was an interesting discussion.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. And I think, too, when you talk about, you referred to that Lincoln Riley and rough era and whatnot and the aggressive, at that point in time, 4-2-5 defense really wasn't a thing. It was 3-4 and 4-3. We ran a 3-4 that ended up turning into a 4-3 under front. But we were aggressive as all get out and run situations. We just didn't have necessarily all the guys that we wanted in the secondary to be able to hold up and play some man coverage. Nice thing about Blake Harrell, he's not scared to play man coverage, and they had a dude last year that was able to do it before he tore his ACL.
All right, Jim Rayford, he's got a question about conference expansion. He says, if the SEC or Big Ten raids the ACC to take 4 to 6 schools, is there any chance ECU could become a member of the ACC? I've read they would probably take Tulane, Memphis, USF. How about the Pirates?
I got a thought on this.
All right, let's hear it.
Because, I've heard this question before and proposed by a group of friends, and here's the thing. I think all 3 of those schools that were mentioned, Memphis, Tulane, and USF, are all in front of us right now. The other thing I'll add is, obviously, the ACC is not afraid to go west because they've added Cal and they've added Stanford. So who's to say Boise State, even Oregon State, Washington State, San Diego State, none of those teams aren't in the discussion as well. Maybe they want a little West Coast side and divvy up the ACC. But long story short is, for some optimism, we tend to be on the downward trajectory at all these times. Hopefully now, at least it feels like we're kind of maybe on the upward swing. More finances and stuff are going to basketball. We're making that commitment more now than we've ever been, and that gives us an opportunity to make a jump because we do have to be competitive in basketball to make that conversation. And it seems like football right now, they got the offense in place, and if they can go on a string here in the next few years under Blake Harrell, our name will be in that hat.
It's interesting you bring that up, Bobby, real quick. Sorry, the expansion west. If you asked me this 3 years ago, I would say 100%, right? Their blueprint is the Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland. Well, I feel like they've gone away from their blueprint. And then could you even, because I know football drives conference realignment, because of the pedigree of the basketball of the ACC, could they go find them an old school brand out west like UNLV? Yeah, UNLV's not what they were in the 90s, but, just pairing them with all those teams you mentioned.
Yeah, there are so many layers to this, too. Who's to say, if the ACC starts getting picked off, that Stanford and Cal just don't, just go back to the Pac-12, too? Because, does the ACC still have that amount of value? So, I just, I don't know. I mean, it feels like there are so many ways it can swing. And a lot of it is pointing towards the 2030-ish range. A lot of the TV contracts are going to be up in that 2030 to 33 window. We talked about it before with the new Pac-12 deal. The Mountain West deal is up in that range. The American now expires in 2033. You also have the ACC, the buyouts for Clemson, Florida State. If they were to leave the conference, that drops in 2030. I think around that time we're going to see another pretty seismic shift. And then for us, it's you want ECU to be ascending at that point. And I think they're on the right track. It's just, I don't want them to peak in 26, 27 and then go down. It'd be nice to dominate the American for 4 or 5 years, and then at that time you're clearly at the forefront.
Yeah, we need to get back to that. What was it? Really, 2009 to about 2014 era, where it was kind of the latter part of Skip and then the latter part of Ruff there. But Yeah, I'm with you. We just need to be on the upward trajectory. It's going to be very, very interesting what happens with these TV contract stuff. My hope is where this heads, and I don't know how y'all feel. I would love at least some promotion relegation opportunities. I know that's been thrown out there by some people as well, and just to at least give us a shot. That's what I love about this new playoff format. ECU now at least has a shot. They have to do their job and play flawlessly and to make it into the playoffs, but they at least have a shot to get there.
Jim adding that ECU always gets more bang for the money. Imagine all the facilities paid for and ACC money to fall back on. I mean, it is nice to think about. If you do get in the ACC at that point, what is their monetary value? But I still think people would pay more to be with like the leftovers than North Texas, Rice, and all these teams, So
I agree. The last thing I want to add, because I know you had him on his show on Monday.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about all this, and I think it just, to me, it shows how well of a job Gilbert has done. And I don't know him personally, so I'm not just blowing smoke, but when you look at the outside perspective, Philip already mentioned today, one of 5 teams that have winning records across all those sports. We seem to be on ascension right now. We have facilities that we've never had before. We're putting money to basketball that we've never had before. Like, we're in the top part of the G5 and revenue sharing and all that stuff. And pulling us out of the hole of the athletic director's regime that was here before, to me, it's impressive. And it's just seeing all those pieces now laid out in front. Kudos to you, John Gilbert.
All right, well, we are out of time, and good thoughts from Bobby Harward, Philip Pilkington. Gentlemen, it's hard to believe that another season has come and gone.
I just can't believe you're inviting me back to season 3.
Oh, yeah. Have I extended the official invitation?
I thought you did, but maybe I'm not.
You had him ask Brittany, so I think he's in.
Yeah, he's in.
Yeah.
He's in. He's not. Even if he tried to get out, we wouldn't let him.
We know where he lives. We can drag him over
That's
here.
right. We just go smash his new bathroom. All right. Bobby, appreciate it, man, for real, though.
Absolutely.
Phillip, great job all season long, man.
Thanks, man. It was fun.
Hopefully you have a few less weddings next year,
Yeah, I got one the day of the Coastal game. I know that.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out when we get there. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We've really enjoyed doing the show, growing it over the last few years, and thanks. Everybody enjoy July. We'll see you in August, right ahead of football season. Thanks for listening.